I'm Mayor Lloyd Ireland, Professor of Orthopaedics at the University of Kentucky in Lexington. This talk is on research in orthopedics, and we orthopedists should give money to research organizations such as the Orthopedic Research and Education Foundation, to our fellowship societies, to our specialty societies, to fund research so that we can give back and make improvements in our care of patients. This is so critical, and I don't think we orthopedists give enough back. I have been a fundraiser for numerous organizations. I'm a board member of the Orthopedic Research and Education Foundation, and I did, along with Jeff Abrams, spearhead a fundraising campaign for Dr. Andrews to support research in youth sports. So this is a pitch and a history on research and how research has impacted my practice. This was presented at the 15th American Sports Medicine Fellowship Society held in Birmingham. And this is the Fellowship Society logo. It's a squirrel with a arthroscope, and a blind squirrel in the woods gets an acorn every now and again. So maybe we can make that blind squirrel see, or make the arthroscope work better, or figure out what we need to do in our patients to make their lives better and to stay more mobile. Research and Dr. Andrews is a common thread. I did a fellowship with Dr. Andrews in the mid-'80s, and this is a picture at that time. State-of-the-art technology. This was when the laser video disc was big, and look at these small little monitors. Dr. Andrews is at the keyboard, and we've come a long way, baby, from that time. If you think about the advances from just early in arthroscopy and what we were able to do, till now we were doing pretty much everything through the scope for our joints in sports medicine. So I was always a person who asked questions. I did research during my residency with Jacquelin Perry, research with Dr. Andrews during my fellowship, and also with Bill McLeod in throwing injuries. And in private practice, I continued to fund research and continue to ask basic questions that you think have an answer, but when you take it back to the lab, there are no answers. So there are a lot more studies that can be done to ask basic questions. In academic practice, I have continued to do gait analysis and further research, and now I'm an OREF board member. So research has been a very important part in my career, and I continue to do research, and I think that that helps us educate each other and educate our young medical students, residents, and fellows. So this is my practice at Kentucky Sports Medicine, where in private practice for 22 years I did research, funded it through several different sources, worked with Irene Davis McClay, doing gait analysis through Joyner and Dreyer Sports Medicine. Dr. Andrews came to visit several times to my home in Lexington and gave us the keynote for our graduation speakers several years ago at Keeneland. So the thread of research and continuing to have our mentors visit us and talk about research and education and how far we've come and how far we really have to go to put research dollars and emphasis on this very important topic. Dr. Andrews with his Kentucky Sports Medicine hat and also a Keeneland and UK hat. So when I was in Lexington, just starting my practice, Dr. Andrews brought Professor Trillat, who is French, and he did very well at the races, but it is really quite rewarding to meet these high-level orthopedists from many different countries through our fellowships. And I think what Dr. Andrews did for me during my fellowship of finding me a place to practice in Lexington, which was my home, and an ability to take care of the University of Kentucky, helped fuel my passion for research and education and taking care of high-level athletes. So Professor Trillat visited us in Lexington, and it was very much a pleasure and honor to meet him and talk with him and go to the races with him. So enjoy that during your fellowship. Fellowship research, we did a lot in fellowship with upper extremity mainly. This is Jack Nicklaus, and the analysis by EMG on swings was very interesting. You see even Jack Nicklaus and his son are very interested, as Dr. Andrews talks about the swing mechanics and the biomechanics of swing that were then being recorded in the field. We've come a long way since that time, and now there is more sophisticated swing analysis, biomechanical analysis of throwing, golf, and other sports. So we should use that to improve our techniques of prevention and also our arthroscopic techniques when we do need to fix things. Had the opportunity to work with Dr. Perry during my residency in Southern California. She was at Rancho Los Amigos and was one of my earliest mentors, and one that really struck home and taught me about research. She was the foremost expert on gait analysis, and if anybody had ever met her, she could analyze gait better than anyone I've ever seen just by her eyes. She didn't need EMG, nerve conduction velocities, gait analysis techniques, but she developed a fantastic gait lab at Rancho Los Amigos. And I had the pleasure to continue to know her and have her come visit Lexington when she would go to meetings. And she was quite a spirit and a pioneer, one of the first female orthopedists. She was a physical therapist in the Army and decided that she wanted to go back and do orthopedics, and indeed she did, from research, from polio, operating on spines, and continuing to do gait analysis and research until her dying breath.
Her interests focused more and more on precisely measuring patient performance. She organized the gait laboratory, which expanded to include analysis of muscle electrical activity, energy expended in functional activities in the handicapped, quantitative assessment of vector forces, and motion in dysfunctional gaits.
All research is an organized way to answer a question with fact. That's the challenge.
Research is an organized way to answer a question with fact. I think that's a great, succinct way to think about research. And if you looked at some of those early pictures at Dr. Perry's lab and think how far we've come, look at those big recording devices and computer devices and all of the lighted monitors on the patients. We've come a long way, and we need to continue to support such research that now is going to be even more critical in injury prevention and, again, answering those questions that we pose that we think have been answered, but they really haven't when you go back to the lab and the literature. My first peer-reviewed publication was in Foot and Ankle, and this was with Dr. Hoffer, who was the chairman of our department at UC Irvine, and it was triple arthrodesis for children with spastic cerebral palsy. I was a little concerned if the sports medicine fellowships that I applied for would think this was great research, but I did present this in Atlanta, and this was the first paper that I had published, peer-reviewed journal. And my second paper was with Dr. Perry, where I recruited fellow orthopedic residents to have EMG, nerve conduction velocity, with needle, not with skin, in their ankles, and we did a predictive value of manual muscle testing and gait analysis in normal ankles by dynamic EMG. So the residents were recruited, but also it was mandated and were drafted to do this study, and it too got published. So for those of you in residency or fellowship, you may be recruited to do studies, and you may have to sacrifice your body, but please donate money when you can. Some things we still haven't figured out in research, and this needs to be funded. We need your money through OREF and through other funding sources. Hunter in 1743 said, "Once violated, articular cartilage defects are a troublesome thing. They don't heal." Still the same this many years later. So as we fast forward to 250 years after Hunter stated this about articular cartilage, a worrisome thing, look at the first chief of orthopedics at the University of Kentucky, 1964 to 1989. And he too worked on articular cartilage, as did a lot of people in those interim centuries. And he was the first to show that both epiphyseal and articular cartilage chondrocytes can divide. He showed that nutrition support of articular cartilage is through perfusion of intra-articular fluid. Dr. Brower was approached when Dr. Andrews and I went to Lexington to take care of the University of Kentucky to start a sports medicine program at that time, and he felt that any orthopedist, general orthopedist, should be able to do arthroscopy and sports medicine, so he sent us to private practice to Central Baptist down the street to start our sports medicine program. And ironically, I ended up at the University of Kentucky 22 years later working in their sports medicine department, which was started in the mid-90s under Dr. Johnson's direction. I started the James E. Ireland Foundation in 1992 to support research and education with a focus on women's health, injuries in athletically active women, young and old. This is a 501c3 corporation, so donations are welcome to that. Donations are welcome through your fellowship society, your subspecialty society, but please donate and give back money for research. You can designate it to certain projects. OREF is another good place to donate money through the James Andrews campaign or others. Our purpose was to try to get funded prevention strategies for women, girls who were tearing their ACLs at a very young age. And now we have another foundation that I have developed and started, the Ireland Foundation, so the IF Foundation, with a similar purpose to focus on physical activity and wellness for girls and women. This is associated with the Active Women's Health Initiative through the College of Health Sciences at the University of Kentucky, and we're very excited about getting this started again to promote wellness throughout the women's lifespan. Give money. That's my mother's payoff from a good bet that I made. This is the Active Women's Health Initiative. More to come on that. But again, give to what you feel you're passionate about and give it back, and it will come back to help you personally and also in your profession. The Orthopaedic Research and Education Foundation is the mothership of our research and education, and I've felt strongly that we orthopedists should give to OREF. My introduction to OREF was through Dr. Sanford Ansell, who was one of my mentors and a very tough orthopedic educator at UC Irvine, and he told us residents that we should give to OREF every year. He expected it, and we all did that for a period of time. I have continued to do it yearly for the last 32 years, and actually started in my residency longer than that. So I've been involved in OREF, and I'm now proud to say that I'm an OREF board member. So beware, I may ask you for money. The James R. Andrews campaign was started by his fellows and OREF. We asked Dr. Andrews if he would be involved in a mentor campaign, so all of those who trained under him were asked to donate. And as you might expect, Dr. Andrews was humbled with this, and he graciously accepted our support through OREF, and the charge was for sports injuries and to do research, fund research for sports injuries in youth and prevention. So Dr. Andrews was honored. He is a former OREF trustee and a donor to OREF for 30 years. Our former trainees, colleagues were asked to donate research in his honor, and youth sports prevention is what he picked. All the funds raised in honor of Dr. Andrews are used to support OREF-funded research in this area. It's not too late to give. To date, we have raised over $450,000 from 38 individuals and the Aircast Foundation. Dr. Jeff Abrams and I are the co-chairs of this campaign. And Abrams stated that he taught us the importance of helping our communities and has made a significant impact on my career. And my statement is it's hard to articulate how much he has influenced my life. He has given us all so much. So this is where we should give back, particularly if he has suggested or told us we should give back, and we should give to his mentor campaign, James R. Andrews' mentor campaign. The Andrews campaign donors are listed here. You can see the different levels. At the $50,000 level is the Aircast Foundation, and we thank them, always supporting research. It's a good relationship with industry that we've had throughout the years, us orthopedists. James R. Andrews, Melvin Deese, a former fellow who practices in Georgia, A.E. and Penny Joyner at the $50,000. At the $25,000, Dr. Jeff Abrams, Angelo Ireland, and Scalfani, and you can read the rest of them. So please consider giving. It's not too late, and look forward to your having your name on this campaign wall. What funded research has occurred thus far? There have been two. James Slaughterback at the University of Vermont, a FIFA 11 plus injury prevention program. Does it decrease lower extremity injuries in high school athletes? Hasn't been published yet, has been presented. Andreas Kontakis, PhD at HSS in New York, has just finished his study on non-surgical treatment of young pitchers to improve shoulder kinematics. The third project will be funded in 2018. At our Academy meeting last year, Dr. Kantakis was at the booth, and it was good to visit with him. The competition. Us Andrews Fellows do not like to be beaten in any way, and we should try to get more money. We're way behind the James Urbaniak Mentor Campaign at $700,000 from 88 donors at Duke. They had additionally $300,000 from other sources. The Russ Warren campaign, over $750,000 from 140 donors. So please remember that we're only 38, but we've got almost, we got 460,000. So please continue to donate. Those of you that haven't, donate. The Andrews campaign minimal goal was to increase totals to 500,000, so we need a little bit more. The stretch goal was to try to get as much as 750,000 to match or surpass our other ones that are above us, who number 1 and 2. All pledges can be paid over 5 years. Learn more, and please visit the OREF website, oref.org/Andrews, or me. Visit my website and please email me or contact me. And watch out, I'll come after you. For money. New Orleans OREF booth. Dr. Andrews manned the booth for us for a while, and this was when Andreas Kontakis came by. That's him, and Dr. Andrews is always asking questions about throwing and projects, and that's what he did with him. On the lower right, that's Melvin Deese and me, and Dr. Andrews, we awarded him with this for being the mentor that he is and our support of him.
The idea is whether we can detect whether the electromyography may change, if the strength drops more than the healthy, which will indicate.
Will they ever get better than the healthy?
I think good question.
Special surgery developed that?
No, that's the original idea of Andrew Cartoon.
So Dr. Andrews, again, always asking the good questions, and some of them that we can't answer, but that drives us back to the lab and basic sciences to answer some of those questions that seem like they should have been answered in the past, but that's what research is all about. Persistence. Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent can't. Genius will not. Education will not. So I think we need to press on, and I have been persistent in pursuing research, and I'm going to keep asking for money for research. I think it's very worthwhile, should be done, and we should support the Andrews campaign. Give back to research. Dr. Andrews wants us to support the Andrews campaign. The message here is to give to research. I have throughout my professional career and feel quite good about it. This is my website, myname.com. The intro page looks like this. You can click on the James E. Ireland Foundation and very easily give money to that foundation. Give to OREF for the Andrews campaign. It's all for good causes, and discuss it with your wife and your family, your husband and your family, and decide how much and how often to give. But please give to research and enjoy my website. If you want to go to Africa, I took that picture of that leopard. I was closer than maybe I should be, but you can travel with me in addition to give money and look at publications presentations. Thank you very much.